Maybe? Nope. Yeah, there we go. There we go. No signal? What do you mean? Little fucking bitch. If you can... No fucking signal. There we go. Hello, everybody. Hi, Ben. Hi, Jax. Welcome in. Good to see everybody. How we doing? But yes, even though we technically finished the game last night, it is not over. It is not over, sadly. It is not a 106% true ending, because if you look at the save file, crash, it's only 64. Only 64. And now we have the running shoes. We can look at the zoomies. Crash got the zoomies. Oh shit! I didn't mean to do that. Oh yeah, gotta get that 1, 2, 3% shit. Yeah. So this is the secret warp room. I didn't want to show this off, but this is the secret warp room, which only has gems and relics on it. So we got to get all the relics in the main warp room first, and then to unlock those extra levels. That's what we're gonna do. And any extra relics, or gems that we've missed, we will sweep up. I remember it also being a bitch to finish. I've never done this. This will be my first time attempting to do this. But I'm very worried about the last, like, probably 2 warp rooms. Mainly like the space levels with the monkey bars and stuff. I know it's I know with this you don't need the gold relic. You don't need the gold relic to get the extra percentage. As long as you get a relic, then you're fine. But you know, we gotta be quick. Then you know me, I'm a masochist. I've 126%ed Cuphead on expert twice. God damn. You are a masochist, Ben. Like, that is literally the definition. Alright, here we go. Just gonna run, jump, run and 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 jump, run, jump, run and jump, run and run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. I can just say run and jump to the beat of the song. It's fine. It's fine. I probably could have done this without needing the speed shoes, but you know, you've got to be. You gotta make sure, right? I will read that in a second. There was probably time grades there. That's fine. There we go. Nice. Gold. Nice. My reflexes are legitimately too shot to do it again, but hey, I did it, and that's all that matters. Exactly. You can categorically say that you've done that. And I, on the other hand, have never played Cuphead. I've watched loads of people play Cuphead, but I've never played it myself. I don't know. It looks cool. I don't know if it's a game I would play. Maybe. Like, the boss fights look really, really cool. Like, in terms of, like, visuals and stuff. But I know they're difficult, so... Okay, so we got 2 more. Wizards and Lizards. For Cuphead? Yeah, I've not played Cuphead. I've watched people play Cuphead. I mean, yeah, it's a challenging game, but it's not Soulsborne difficult. Yeah, it's like a challenging 2D platformer sort of game. Yeah. I say I think I'd be more inclined to play that than like other Dark Souls games, but we'll see. Yeah, side scroller run and gun. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Right, now, before we even attempt at anything, this wizard needs to politely fuck off. Alright, go. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Oh, that sucks. So if they hit the box, it doesn't count as a time save. Yeah, my R2 button's not exactly the best. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really read the Sapphire time, so you have to bear with me. Think we're okay. Fuck. Nice, we got gold. And some of these are a bitch to do. Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. And some of them we're going to be doing more than once anyway, because I probably won't do it first time, and some of them you have to do the gem path. You have to get a gem first. Like the next level now, we got to do the yellow gem path first before doing the relic run. So should be fun. And if I remember correctly, the yellow gem path in Compactor Reactor, it's just a bunch of nitro and really, really fiery flame, so you can't actually see where you're going. Fun. Well, you can see, but it's like 2 feet in front of you, but that's about it. It's fine. We'll get it, probably. But I hope everyone's doing alright. I've just come back from a walk, so I'm a little out of breath. Gotta keep my exercise up. And not just be a slob. I will say that this music slaps. I love how like it breaks. That breaks, and then the music like drops. Like the beat drops for the music. I love that. I can't see. Oh, this is where it gets really bad. Oh, yeah. Ow. Okay. That wasn't too bad. We got a bit hairy at the middle there, but it's fine. Imagine trying to do that without a Aku Aku. That would be insane. I'm watching someone play Skyward Sword right now, and he's breaking Ganon with the bug net. It's hilarious. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think that's how it works, but okay. But okay then. Alright, so that's the extra gem. So we got a 1 minute 45. He's just waving the bug net in Ganon's face and it's just destroying it. He's like, look what I got. The guy's like, what the fuck? Go away. Stop it. Stop it. Oof. This has definitely been the longest load so far. And that worries me. Alright. 1 minute. What's it? Oh, that's Nitro. Ah! This is fine. I wasn't panicking, you were panicking. Probably went the shittest way, but it's fine. 1 minute 35. Was it 1 minute 35 or 1 minute 45? Well, it was definitely a minute something. God, most of it's going to be this fucking just this golf cart, this mine cart. I forgot how long this section is. Well, in terms of time, anyway. That's 20 seconds of time gone. Okay. Well, we got to move. I want to get killed by that, so I'm just gonna have to wait. Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît. Thank you kindly. Go. Oh, we should be fine. Yeah. Nice. Oh, another gold. 102. Maybe we could have done a 1 minute, but sub 1 minute. Huh? Okay. So that's warp room 1 done. So the first warp room is 100% completed now. That's nice. That's good to know. I don't like the fact that my PlayStation is just randomly going, and I'm like, I'm just waiting for it to actually just shit the bed. Okay. We'll do Banzai Bonsai first. Because we can do the secret, we can do the red gem path, which also gives us an additional power-up. So we'll do that. Because you can completely miss this. I don't think this actually, and as well, I don't think this adds to the total. I don't think this power-up that we get. But you can just randomly, this is just randomly on a secret path. And I believe Coco can have this power-up as well as Crash. But this is the only one. Like, because Coco can't have a bazooka, she can't double jump. She can't, like, slide, she can't Yeah, like body slam, like super body slam. Well, actually, that's not what the power up is, super body slam, but. But we get to listen to this music again, which is nice. Don't need to grab all the boxes because I've already got the box gem, so I don't need to do that. I can't remember where the red jump path is actually. Oh, okay, just don't jump. It's fine. Jump is a. Good job, there's a. Didn't want to jump. Blood dead. Bitch. Oh, it's here. Okay. Oh yeah, it's all nitro. Boing. Oh, okay. The game is like forcing me to. Okay, this is. Oh, fuck off. Really? This is going to be a pain in the ass. I don't remember doing this path, to be honest. Like I said, I've not... Like, even though I've not beaten this game as a kid, I actually don't remember doing this secret gem path, because I never got the red gem. So I gotta like, low jump this? I can hear the end thing. Ow. There we go, look, super belly flop. For a more powerful belly flop, press X to jump and then press circle at the top of the jump. So now, yeah, Coco does a little spinneroonie, like just she spins and then bounces down. So and then there's an extra gem. We now have an extra power up and a gem. Just because they're just like normally you would think like power ups typically are always been in boss fights, but that one is just hiding there. I don't know whether they left that in by choice or they kind of put it there as a like temporary thing and then forgot about it and then was like, oh, it's there. Let's just leave it in. Let's just leave it there for now. All right, but we'll go from left to right now. Now that we've got. Yeah, I think pretty much all these levels, I just need the relic. So we got Jungle Rumble, 2 minutes. Okay. Well, a lot of it is going to be, well, not a lot of it, but a bit of it is going to be the Jeep, like auto-scrolling section. Not auto-scrolling, but a Jeep section. So we got to like not optimize. Well, I say yeah, probably got to like optimize our run towards the Jeep and then just go as fast as we can in the Jeep. I think it's X or circle to go faster. A wild horsey. See. Yeah, horsey. I know you said horsier. I'm like, horsey. It's like, that's probably something else entirely. Okay. Here we go. Da-da. That probably would have given me some extra time, but it's fine. Well, if I can just completely avoid those enemies. They don't, like they don't even exist. I forget that the game doesn't expect you to have double jump at this point. Alright. 8 seconds, go! I think it's X or circle. I don't know what button it is, but I think it's a button. Please don't get murdered. Please don't get murdered. Please don't get murdered. Please don't get murdered. Oh god, that nearly died. It's fine. It's fine. Fuck's sake, that's bad an Aqua. I got 2 Akaraku, so that's not too bad. It's just really hard to react what's going on. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it, appreciate it. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. This is fine. It's fine. Oh, hi, Kiana. I'm sorry, sorry. Oh, no worries at all. It's all good. It's all good. I don't know my sound. It's fine. It's all good. Hope you're well, though. Hope you're keeping well. Good to see you. I'll give you a little sherry. But I appreciate you. If you're just lurking, I appreciate it. Go follow Kiana. She's a great streamer. Met her through Chugs. AKA Adam Cole. Best boy. My first actual Twitch stream I watched and enjoyed. So, are you okay, Ben? Are you okay? You sent me a oh no, why have you sent me a DM? Oh, that's why you sent me a DM. Oh, no, anytime. I know you stream, Kiana, so I want to give you all the follows you can get because you're great. Now you understand. How tarnished. Do I get the DLC? I think by the next couple of like streams of Elden Ring, I'm probably like, oh, I'll just buy it. All right, I'll buy it. Just to calm everybody down. It's fine. That statue looks amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Looks so cool. If you don't, I will. I mean, I have it on Steam, so you could gift it to me. That is a thing. I'm not saying you should. Please don't do that, Ben. Like, I don't want to financially cripple you, but... Okay. I'm probably gonna press buttons. I'm 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 pressing buttons. I'm pressing buttons. I'm pressing buttons. This is how I should play the game. Press buttons. Whee! Oh, don't get caught. Don't get caught. Don't get caught. Where am I gonna go again? That's the wrong way. That's the wrong way. Shit. Oh, I'm invincible. Go! I'm invincible. Look how much better this level is just by speed running through it and having the Death Tornado spin as a mode of transport. As a faster movement, faster bit of movement. It's so much nicer. Oh, I'm invincible again. Come on. Sorry, I'm just in a bit of concentration mode. Okay, go. Oh god, I'm in the submarine. This isn't good. This is fine. 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 All I hear is bloops and bleeps, and that's not good. Crash into things. Oh my god, how did I survive that? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. can't remember what the time was. What was the time again? Is it like a minute? Oh god, I hope it was. I hope it's not like 50 seconds, because we're cutting it fine. Oh god, we're going to cut it fine. Is that I don't think that's a platinum. No, Mesmer has already done a good job at that. Exactly. That was a platinum relic, then that's big pog. Big pog. Why does it always say that my bitrate is unstable? Like, what the fuck? Oh no, that was a platinum relic. Okay. Nice. Huh. Why is my bitrate unstable? Why am I I mean, I'm unstable probably mentally, but like... Why? This collection ran me $330 after the extra $50 for expedited shipping, but absolutely fucking worth it. You're so good. Do you do any? Oh my god! I thought I broke my water bottle. Do you do any speedruns, like any percent? So funny you should say that, Kiana. I did used to once upon a time. I did run Crash 1, 2, and 3 any percent runs. That was very stupid. But there's like no glitches, pretty much. There's like a no glitches category for any percent. Forgot about that fish. But yeah. No, thank you. I'm all good. But yeah, I have done speedruns. Not of this game, but of Crash 1, 2, and 3. Oh, that's a boo-hoo. But all my times that I've done, all my best times, like all my PBs, are all under an hour. So I've finished all 3 Crash. Well, I finished the first 3 Crash games individually in under an hour. Oh, I did it again! Damn it! Maybe I need to just like slow it down a little bit because I don't need to go so fast. I mean, they are just 1 second ones. This music slaps. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, I lost it. I had it and I lost it. Fuck. That's amazing. Ah, thank you. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I am on speedrun.com. So if you want to look at, like, the original games on PlayStation 1, like versions, I am on speedrun.com on the any percent category. I think all my times are top 200. But then I think with Crash 1 or 2, I think there is Crash 1, I think especially, there isn't many times on like submitted. But I might. It's tricky. I do want to, but like I don't want to start doing too many things at once when I don't have much free time. Just to stream it as it is. I don't want to burn myself out. I do love watching a lot of speedruns, though. I love watching people play these, like speedrun these, especially like Crash games. I love watching people speedrun Crash and Spyro, actually. Yeah, they're always a lot of good fun. Maybe like one. Maybe one like maybe on my birthday or like a anniversary of some sort. Maybe I'll do like a. Oh god damn it! Oh, did I not die? Nice. Yeah, maybe I can do like maybe not maybe a marathon of just like I'll just do like the Crash games back to back. Because that is such a there is a category for that. I think it's called a Crash Vector, which is Crash 1, Crash 2, Crash 3 back to back. I think I'd do that. Ding, ding, ding. I think that's what I would do. If I want to get back into speedrunning. I think it. Oh god! I forgot I had speed shoes. I forgot Coco has speed shoes. I thought Coco didn't have speed shoes. There's me just walking at a normal pace when I could just be sprinting. Yeah, it definitely helps. Ow. When you've played these games, like literally since you were like 4. Oh, I just took a bong bong to the face. The good thing with time trials, you don't lose any lives. That's the good thing about time trials. You don't lose any lives. And the music doesn't stop, so that's always good. That's more like it. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to spin. Spin attack. Spin attack, Coco. Spin attack. Now I've lost my Akaraku, which is highly annoying. Oh, damn it. Hi, Kitty. Thank you for the 30 bits to gigantify an emote. I should? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. See, I think of these ideas, and then when it comes down to the day, I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do, and I should write these down, or like someone remind me. I just forget. I have watched a few people do it. I've actually watched people. I've watched a few streamers, good much better crash speedrunners than I am. They've done a Sprash Vector, which is Crash and Spyro trilogy back to back, which I thought was pretty cool. So you do Crash 1, Crash 2, Crash 3, and then Spyro 1, 2, and 3, which I think is very, very cool. Oh, don't get caught. Oh, I'm just really concentrating right now. Nice. That's a gold. Nice. GG's. So that's Banzai Bonsai done. But yeah, I'll have to try and remember that, because my birthday is January, and then my anniversaries are April and May. So well, my streaming anniversary, then my affiliate anniversary, respectively. So it'll probably be for like my birthday or Christmas time, maybe. Yeah, maybe on the lead up, to it, I'll find time to I'll like practice it over on the weekends or something. Do like practice runs of each game. Get myself back up to speed a little bit. I still need to learn neutral slide spin for the main movement tech for Crash 2, which is the fastest way of movement in Crash 2 and Crash 3. But in Crash 3... No. Sorry, no. In Crash 2, if you get triple masks, the neutral slide spin doesn't work. So, I think that's why in Crash 2, when you watch speedruns of it, no, you don't try to... you try to use invincibility as least as possible. Which... but then also runs the risk of, but then that requires you then to be a lot better with your platforming and working out where enemies are and stuff. I don't think it's just the relic for this, right? I hate this. Panic. This is very much H2. Oh no. This is very much H2O now. For that very reason entirely. I hate water levels. I hate water levels. I hate water levels. I hate water levels. Water levels. Water levels suck. Constantly fire. This is fine. I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking. Oh, I just accepted fate and died. Oh, hey Joe. Hi. Hi Joe. The lead vocalist himself. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing, my friend? How are you? Really? You didn't want to grab that 3, huh? Whatever. Oh, this is fine. This is fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm so fine. Fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. How you doing, Joe? Okay, I should stop there. I should just stop there. I'm good, my dude. How goes Crash? Crash goes good. We've already beaten the any percent ending of this game, so we're now on to relics, relic hunting, and any secret gems that we've missed. That's what we're now doing. So we've already beaten Crunch and Cortex once, so now we're basically hoovering up, trying to get the rest of it. But yeah, I've never done I've never done a I know this sounds awful as a Crash Bandicoot fan. Boy. I've never actually done 100%, 106% playthrough of this game. I've not fully beaten this game before. So, I haven't beaten it until I streamed it. I think it was like 2 years ago. That was the first time I actually beat the game. Because as a kid, I couldn't get past the second boss. I did the water element boss, which oddly enough is the only one that has normal platforming in it. I forget I have speed shoes. I need to use them. Oh, hi, Lycan. Good to see you, buddy. Saw you there. Oh, God. The thing about this game is there's no real shadow, so you have no idea where you're gonna land when you jump. You have literal no idea. You're just hoping and praying. Or if you do have a shadow, it's like it appears last minute. Oh yeah. It's fun. It's fun, fun, fun in the sun. Oh, come on. You should bounce on that. Thank you. Honestly, I don't even know what the time is. Shit. I mean, the sapphire time. Oh, I hope I make it. I hope I make it. I really do. Ah! It's fine. I think that's a sapphire. I wanted to be a tailor, but I didn't suit the job. Where does Fonzie like to go for lunch? Chick-fil-A. Nice. Yeah, I'm going for the 106%. Yeah. You haven't done it either? Oh, nice. Oof, that second boss as a kid. Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, I struggled with it. When we played it a couple days ago when we started this. I actually did. I still struggled. That was my worst boss in terms of life count. I died like a good 10, 15 times before I managed to like get the pattern down and just jump, and just go through it and done. Right. So, Warp Room 2 is done. Yeah. There's no one Warp Room 2, so that's fine. Okay, it's one warp. Okay, this is where it gets a bit. Tricky. The Gauntlet. I haven't even 10% this game. Hey, that's like beating the first Warp Room, I think. Ruined my life. Yeah. As a kid, I could never get past the second one. I couldn't. I tried so many times. I couldn't. I just physically couldn't. I just wasn't good enough as a gamer, clearly. I don't like the fact in the second boss fight, that's that water one, when you crouch, the platform like sinks a little bit and you think, oh god, it's gonna go, but then it doesn't. It goes up and then just drops, and it's just like, oh, thanks for the full sense of security. Really appreciate it. It's like, oh yeah, now I'm gonna kill you. Now I'm gonna. It's like, oh, you thought about it? Now I'm gonna kill you. Alrighty. Let's go. Wait, how did I bounce on that box? Pardon me? Ah, shit. No. Did anybody see that? Please tell me somebody saw that. Oh, fuck my life. Please tell me somebody saw me, like, clip through the floor. Right? It wasn't just me imagining that, right? Come on, come on, come on. Oh, fuck off. I know I've seen speed, and the reason I tried that to try and skip it, because I know speedrunners. I think I've seen speedrunners do it where they basically skip the stairs somehow. I don't know how they do it. Some voodoo magic or some sort. Yeah. Dude, I'm so excited now. I've been finished like shit all day, and this is legit made my day. Hell yeah, man. It looks so cool. Like, I don't know. I think the only way I would buy something like that, the only like game I probably would buy something like that would probably be like Crash or Spyro, maybe. If it had like a, you know, like the collector's edition, it had like a statue and 18 inches of Venom or Sephiroth, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Do you want to make it the DLC? Maybe. 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 I mean, would I tell you? I'll just... You know me, Ben. I just buy it and then I'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, I bought the DLC. That's what I'll do. Okay, so we've got 2 more levels. Okay, so we've got Tsunami. Ooh. Oh, okay. Actually, this won't be too bad. I just got to remember where... Oh, I just got to figure out where the time boxes are. See, for me, it'd be Soulsborne, not Resident Evil, but I fortunately didn't have the cash to get the Resident Evil 4 remake one. We did get the first aid cocktail spray things and the herbs, right? I remember you telling me you got that. That's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Oh shit, I just remembered. Let me shut up. I can... And then shout out the lead vocalist himself. Rucka Joe. And of course, he was last playing Clone Hero. Love to see it. Go give him a follow. Great peeps. Good friends of mine. Hiya! 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 Shit, I didn't realize there was an Akuraku there. Fuck. My first aid spray is complete with herb pallets and spray diffusers. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You'd be like, do you want a green and a red herb, or do you want 2 greens or 3 greens? Yeah, I'm just gonna die. I'm gonna try that again. I'm just gonna try that again. Like I said, this is really like my first proper time. This is my first proper attempt at like doing all the time trials for every level. I'm running so fast. I'm missing the point of spinning. I'm misjudging the point of spinning. Oh, no, just jump. Nah, man, it's that green, red, yellow for the max HP boost. True. If we're talking Resident Evil 4, yeah. Actually. Would everybody go bingo? Every fucking time. Go. Go, Coco. Yeah, how do you outrun a tsunami? A scooter. A push scooter, actually. Not even like a moped, like just a push scooter. Don't need anything fancy. It's the Coco powered scooter. And when it gets the job done. It's fine. Oh, and that's the end. Oh, fucking hell. I think that might have been a platinum. Well, that's the best Resident Evil. True. It's my favorite. 4 is definitely my favorite. I haven't played the remake yet, but 4 OG was my favorite. With such quotable lines as, was everybody going bingo? And also, women. I will, don't worry. One of the first games we'll play in October will be Resident Evil 4 Remake. It's going to be that, Dead Space Remake, Alan Wake 2, Little Nightmares 2, amongst others. Yes, I will. Don't worry. Ada! So, Fahrenheit Frenzy. Oh, this is the one with the freaking skycopter. Oh, and I went so slow last time I did this level. This is gonna suck, isn't it? I did say from Warp Room 3 onwards, my life is gonna be a living hell. It's fine, I'm committed. Okay, so word of advice for Alan Wake 2, you need to play it twice. Oh, New Game Plus actually adds more story elements and key information. Oh. Interesting. I'm just gonna go. Everybody supersonic racing. Gotta keep your feet right on the ground. Everybody supersonic racing. It's no time to look around. I don't know. Everybody supersonic racing. Ow, fuck, that hurt. And to the point of no return. Ow. Everybody supersonic racing. Come on, let the fires burn. Okay, I think we're good. We're good. That actually went really smoothly. Can't see. I can't actually see. That's the thing I hate about double jumping in this game. You always do it right at the start of the jump. And it fucks it up. I hate it. I'm invisible. Oh, you bastard. I am. Oh, oh, ad breaks to start. Oh god, I need to pick up the pace. Need to pick up the pace. Let's go. Class of the gold. Yes, due to the nature of the story and how it intertwines all of the Remedy-verse stories, New Game Plus has a canon in-game explanation as to why the Endgame Plus story is slightly different from the base playthrough. Oh, okay. Does Alan Wake 2 take very long to play through? Out of curiosity? Yeah. So I might do the New Game Plus then off stream, probably. To be honest, if it takes that long, if it takes a long time. Right, ads are about to start, so yeah, that's Warp Room 3 done. So 3 Warp Rooms are done. We've got 4 and 5 left to go. Okay. Are we missing any gems? Oh yes, we're missing lots of gems. So we've got Avalanche. We're missing 2 from Avalanche because the secret one and the box gem. Coral Canyon, we're missing 1. Yeah, because I missed one at the start, I think. Okay. So we'll do those. So we'll do those 2 first. I think we'll do Avalanche first. Right, there's going to be ads running in a moment, like any second now, so. bear with. I won't continue any gameplay for a moment. I'll just save really quickly. Lol, it took me about 40 hours to get through my first playthrough, if I remember right. Again, I'm a completionist, so I was looking for all the collectibles. I was also playing on hard difficulty because I'm hard first because I'm a jackass. Nothing wrong with playing on hard first. Nothing wrong at all. Okay, I'm surprised how quick this game saves. Like genuinely, for a PS2 game, I'm genuinely surprised. The worst thing is with this, if I fuck up the avalanche section, I have to redo the whole level. I have to basically finish the level and go back in and redo it all again. Right, yeah. 3 minutes of ads. Apologies, everybody. We will be back momentarily. Whilst that's happening, I'm just going to check a few things. Like... who's live? Bum 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 bum. Oh, actually, I know what we can check in the meantime. At the same time, there isn't any problem with playing on the game. No, exactly. But if you just want to enjoy the story and not have difficult sections, then you can do that too. Have I unlocked the minecart level? Oh, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that. You're gonna love this level. But we're not. I'm just teasing now. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for that. We're gonna wait for that. Wait. So how many? So I got all crystals. So 76% done. All power-ups now. So I've got 6 power-ups. 30 gems out of 46. Ooh, that's good. And halfway through on relics. Nice. Sweet. So we've got 4 to collect in here. I think 5 in here. I don't think I got any of the relics here. No. Because they're all a pain in the arse. Okay. This one looks like crashes in the Matrix. Yeah, that secret one does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. But yeah, but keep an eye out for Ghost Town. It's there's a reason why I've pointed that one out specifically. But it's got a really funny. As you noticed, there was a minecart. So it's a minecart level. A complete. There's no platforming sections. It's just a complete minecart level. Ghost Town. It's very funny. It's very funny. It's very, very funny. Like, very, very funny. Hilariously funny. Welcome back from the ads, everybody. Right, so everybody's back now from the ads, so let's do Avalanche. But yeah, we've got 2 more secret levels left to unlock, and then we'll just be on to the secret level, the secret warp room then. I'm hoping. I mean, if we can get through Warp Room 4 and 5 now, before the end of stream, that would be nice. And then literally the next stream would just be the secret levels, getting the gems, getting the relics, and then Crunch version 2. Okay, so I'm gonna ignore. I'm gonna play this game like I play it normally. So we're gonna ignore the time thingy-mabobby. We do have the speed shoes though, so this will help us in some shape or form. So for this, so I believe I missed a couple of, yeah, I'm pretty sure I missed a couple of boxes on the avalanche. So that's where I went wrong with the box gem. So we'll see. So we'll see. Fire! Fire! Point. Not gonna lie, I did kind of panic because I thought... Oh, shit. No, I fucked up. I thought I had double jump for some reason. I thought I had double jump. That's actually quite funny, by the way. So if you have an Aku Aku mask, you don't die straight away like you would in the other games. You just kind of you take the hit and then you die after your iframes disappear. That's quite funny, actually. So if you could find a way of getting out of that predicament, you could, technically. Boosh! Super Body Slam! That's the first proper Super Body Slam we just did. And we're back to 99 lives. Love to see it. Because you can't actually die. Yeah, you can't, because from that checkpoint you can't actually die. Like, the closest, the quickest way is to just get to the end and back. This song, I know it's a banger, isn't it? Avalanche is a banger of a song. It's a bop. I will say, the music in this game is very, very good. I will admit, it's very, very good. I did it again, didn't I? I physically couldn't turn. And if I don't go fast, the avalanche is going to get me. Yeah. I'm trying. I really am. I don't know. Does the boxes break in the avalanche? I don't even know. Being perfectly honest. That is a gem. Oh, let's go. Double gem. See? This is literally the end. You can't fall off, you can't die. You just gotta exit the level and go back in again. But we did it. So that's the main thing. We did it. We did it. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster, 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 faster. Da, da. It's crazy, man, right? You watch people on Twitch, and everybody all of a sudden is playing Elden Ring. Like, I don't know why. Everyone is just playing Elden Ring now. It's like there's a DLC or something that's coming out or something, or it's being re-released on a different console. You know. Crazy. Right, so let's do let's do Relic. I think there's a DLC coming out Friday or something. You know? It just seems it's getting a resurgence. So the way this is going, we'll probably finish this game tomorrow. Touch wood. Oh, touch wood. Um. I did not mean to do that, but okay. Are we still okay for Friday and Saturday, Ben? For Elden Ring, or are you you're slightly busy? Whee! I'm invincible. All for 5 seconds. Fine. Concentrate, 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 concentrate. We got the zoomies. I swear to God, if I didn't get a relic, I would have cried. Elden Ring, the guaranteed clicks game. I mean, you say that. You say that. Now it's not going to be guaranteed clicks because everybody and their mothers are going to be streaming it, so I'm going to be way down the list in terms of people playing Elden Ring. And people guaranteed people. I know it's a very popular stream game. Same with Final Fantasy 14, very popular stream game. Final Fantasy 7, very popular stream game. Fortnite, you know, you name it. It's, you know, Sekiro, got Bloodborne. You know, there's plenty of popular stream games. It's just, unfortunately, with my minute followage and lack of personality, I'm going to be way down the list. It's just going to be flooded. It's just everybody and their mothers is going to be playing the game. Everybody wants to see the DLC, which I'm not going to be playing because we're not there yet. So it's fine. Maybe you never know. Maybe people just want to see people play Elden Ring and not the DLC. Who knows? Who knows? Zero traction. Exactly. I would get zero traction. Like, it's good being. That's the thing. I know. Like, I've watched say this multiple times. Like, it's good. Like, having a really popular stream game can be a good thing, but more often than not, it's not, because the game is oversaturated with players, with people streaming it with like a much bigger audience, and they're just naturally going to gravitate towards those people with the larger follower bases, because they're like, oh, they haven't played Elden Ring before, let's see what they're like. You know? And this is what I was dreading with the monkey bars, because you can't go fast. I'm pressing the speed shoes button. I'm pressing it. Trust me, I'm pressing it. Nothing's happening. The other Ring gameplay I want to watch is your stream. Well, I appreciate that. I think there is a way. I think if you do the Death Tornado spin, you can like Death Tornado spin, and you can just like gradually, descend. Okay, so I can't use the speed shoes here. That's fine. Just have to run the rest of this. Oh no! Don't jump over the 3. Don't jump over the 3 box. For the love of all that's holy, don't jump over the 3 box. I'll take that. Give me some 5 seconds of fame. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Oh, I think that worked out. Watch out for invisible walls. No. God, how long is this fucking level? Jesus. I literally got to the end as well, didn't I? It's not easy showing personality without a chat to interact with. That is also true. That's also true. This is the levels I was dreading. Because I hate monkey bars, and they're so unbelievably slow. Now that I don't have an Aku Aku mask, this is a problem. Also, it doesn't help. I can't see. I actually can't see where I'm supposed to be climbing. Like where I can go. I'm pretty sure there's a way of, like, if you do a death tornado spin and then jump off, you can, like, float your way down. Like, that is a thing. I think I was quicker the first time, but yeah. Well, I was quicker I think I was like 10 seconds quicker because I literally had invincibility. I can't believe that the game, because I slowly stopped, the game made me do a standing jump. So stupid. And I just land on a fucking TNT, and I land on a nitro box. As one would, you know? Leave me the fuck alone. Oh. Doesn't help. My visibility is so limited. See, like that? If I just stop... Fucking bitch. I just gotta keep going. Hope it's enough. I hope it's enough. Oh, thank God. Sapphire. That's fine. I don't care. Gotta go slow. Gotta go slow. Gotta go slow, 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 slow. Doot, doot, doot. Yeah. The opposite of a speed run. That level sucks, and that's not even the worst one because there's worse ones than that. Oh, I am not looking forward. Pardon me, that was really rude. Oh, Coral Canyon. Okay, let's do that first. Let's get the gem. Well, we got to get the box gem because I think with this one you start off in the submarine and then you change to Death Tornado spinning everywhere. So I missed the box somewhere from where I remember, and it was painful. And I think it was in the submarine section, so I'm just gonna make extra sure. And because it's you start off in the submarine, I'm gonna make extra sure that I've got everything in the submarine section before I switch. Oh, pardon me. It wouldn't surprise me if there was like a box just like off screen or something, like, you know. I'm breaking boxes, it seems. Fucking bitch. Normally they hide in the seaweed as well. Broke that box. Broke that nitro. Anything down here? Nope. Oh, careful. There might be something in here I missed. Oh, that was a gray crate. I hit a switch crate. Hold on. I might have opened up a couple of crates back the other way. Hold on. Maybe that's where I went wrong. Don't shoot. Don't. Oh wait, the timer, that's good. Oh yeah, I forget, like if you go far enough into the level, the clock disappears. That's the thing. Okay, so there's nothing here, so it must be further on. That has the extra boxes. Good to know. I just don't like that this thing turns like an absolute fucking fridge. I just don't. I just don't. I got an Aku Aku. Go me. Oh. It might have been that box, you know. If I left it too long, it would have turned into a status metal crate and I wouldn't be able to break it. Could have been what? That could have been the missing one. Oh god. I hate worlds. This thing just sucks. Like, you want to do anything in this, it's just like you have the reaction speed of a snail in the mud in slow motion. You waste so much time. You just go so slow. You go so slow in this thing. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, how was I meant to hit that? It turns like a man that spent too much time down the local watering hole. I don't know, mind. I think I've seen people down the local watering holes move quicker than that. I think it's worse. I genuinely think it's worse. God, I hope I haven't missed anything. Okay, right. I'm gonna go back and scour like this last little section I just did, because I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to miss anything. I'm sorry. Just don't want to make the same mistake I did before. Yeah. I think this is back where I... Yeah, okay. Alright, I think we're okay. I think. I hope we are. I swear to God, I hope we are. Alright, we're out. Oh yeah, this bit sucked. For that reason. Because you try and do a death tornado spin and it's just like, oh, I'm going to go really, really fast. By the way. Okay. Okay. It's gonna be like that, huh? It's gonna be like that, huh? Don't you just love when fish just come flying at you from out of fucking nowhere, and you can, and because your missiles shoot so goddamn slowly, you've got no fucking hope. I just love that. I just love when you're I love being in a fragile glass ball. It's as useful as a fucking steering wheel in a canoe. I mean, just love that kind of stuff. I'm trying to creep. Creep, Slowly. Still get murdered by deathfish. Oh, goody goody. What a surprise. Okay. Alright, so... I want to get the Aku Aku. Cute. Okay, we're at the checkpoint. It's fine. Things are fine. Things are great. Things are great. Oh, fuck off. Just fuck off. And he went barreling into a freaking mine. That's nice. See how fast that thing came? Jeepers. We're doing better than last time. I really am. It's nice that we're back on 99 lives again, I suppose. I do appreciate that. Oh goody, I hear the end bit thing. Hey, we did it. Got the gem, let's go. Oh thank God. We did it. We rectified our previous mistakes. Oh. Well, no. Well, is anyone gonna be getting the Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC for Elden Ring? I know, Jax, you probably won't, because I know FromSoft games are not your spiel. But I know, and I know Ben's already got it. Wondering if anybody else is going to be playing that. Okay, so we've got 2 more relics to do. Are you going through Super Mario RPG? Nice. The remake or the SNES version? Is it the SNES version? It's the SNES version. I've heard really good things about Super Mario RPG. The remake, nice. Someday, but right now I want other things first. That's fair. What are your plans then, Lycan? What are you thinking? You know me so well. I know, right? Read you like a book. All right, let's go and try and maybe get killed. Oh, we've already lost Nakaraku. That's a good start. That is grand. If I do say so myself. I'm trying to keep firing and just keep firing and just keep firing. Just hope to God that I don't get hit by anything. Is that anyone else's strategy? Just fire and hope and pray. Yeah, I got an Akaraku back. This is fine. This is fine. Let me go. Rolling around at the speed of sound. Got places to go, gotta follow my rainbow. Can't stick around, have to keep moving on. Cause what lies ahead? Fuck you. Only one way to find out. Let's keep on moving ahead. That is an actual nitro. Good. No time for guessing, follow my plan instead. Look how fast we're going now. Worth it, worth it, worth it, probably. Give it to me, I'm worth it. I'm just rapid tapping square, so don't mind me. Nice. 55 seconds. Hey, gold. Let's go. First try. Beat Saber, Nier, Moss 2, Horizon VR, and Wukong. Ooh. I do have the Nier games. I have Nier Replicant and Automata. I do have them on my PlayStation 5. So we may play through those at some point. I know I've been watching Carly play through Replicant and Automata now, recently. It does look a bit of fun. I know she's on a JRPG arc currently. I'm surprised I did that first try, to be honest. Wuthering Heights. Okay. Whether you like it or not. Anyway. Oh god, just I'm just gonna dig a hole now and just end stream. Oh, the new Zelda game? Nice. Yeah. That does look good, actually. If it's gonna be like Link's Awakening, that's gonna be a very cool, cute game. Looking forward to the Mario Luigi game? Nice, yeah. Oh, I forgot how much of a banger this song is. Fucking Wuthering Heights just has got a banger of a song. It does. Like, you can't tell me it does not slap. Oh, close. It has no right to go this hard. That was bad. Oh, look at me doing speedrunning strats. Let's go. Oh, fuck, I lost some actors. Speed, glorious speed. Just how do I do it? Oh, that's is that a platinum? Fucking damn right. Although I do need to catch up on the rest of the Mario and Luigi games. I've not played a single one. I know that sounds bad, but I've not played a single one. I've watched long plays of like Partners in Time, Paper Jam. There was another one. There's like 3 or 4. Oh, Bowser's Inside Story. That's another. I've watched that. Oh God. Yeah, because Partners in Time is the one where you have Baby Luigi and Baby Mario, so it's like 2 teams of 2, which is pretty cool. All right, so that is Warp Room 4 done. Okay. Now it's time for the big guns. Let's just go through each level one by one and then just do what we need to do. So this level, I only need the relic. Oh, isn't there one? Oh, that's it. Dream Team. That's the one where Luigi sleeps on the pillow and he goes into the dream world. That's quite cool. Yeah, I watched that and Superstar Saga. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, Dream Team was quite cool because you had like loads of in the dream world. You had like basically like massive Luigi, like loads of Luigis. Like Luigi? Is that what we're classing them as at this point? Go, Power Rangers. Oh, I can't wait for that to come out, mind. I can't wait for that Power Rangers game. I know I'm not the biggest like Power Rangers like fan or whatnot, but like that's gonna be such a cool multiplayer game to play. Like with Sav and others and the boys. Very much like the Turtles game, Shredder's Revenge. I love that bit at the end of the trailer. It was like it just did the alert, and it's the fucking Power Rangers theme. Beep beep beep. Oh. Huh. That's good to know. So other places you can take a hit and have iframes, but you slide into molten lava, instant death. Instant death. Good to know. You've only finished Superstar Saga? That's one more than I've finished, so Bum, bada, bum, 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 bada, bum. Now all I've got in my head now is do 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 do. I feel like the Shredder's Revenge looks better than the Power Rangers game. Yeah, I think from the trailer it looked like, yeah, when you look at Shredder's Revenge, it does look a lot better graphically. But then if it's still, you know, they probably slapped a game in progress, it's not the final version yet, then I mean, if it's gonna look like Shredder's Revenge, then that's a plus for me. Wow, even if you're invincible, you can't run in the lava. That's wild. That was at the end too. That's my bad. But yeah, if the Power Rangers game turns out like the Shredder's Revenge sort of like graphics, like looks and stuff, then big thumbs up from me. I love the art style of Shredder's Revenge. So good. So yeah, note to self, Crash in this game cannot touch lava at any given point. Like, any given point. Even if you're invincible, you still cannot touch the lava. Power Rangers haven't really had a good game. Wasn't there one like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or something like on the Xbox not too long ago? Well, be like Shredder's Revenge. The new Power Rangers game that's coming out that got announced. I think it was on PlayStation. Was it the State of Play? I think it was the PlayStation State of Play that they announced that. Alright, go. That's a sapphire. That's a sapphire. The Power Rangers series deserves an Insomniac Spider-Man level of game. Yeah. Oh, imagine that. That would be so cool. Like you have the Power Rangers, and you can just be like, "Ting, I want to play as the Pink Ranger or the Yellow Ranger and stuff like that." You can just instantly switch. That would be pretty cool. Go go Power Rangers! Go go Power Rangers! You've got the ability to morph into even. Anyway, so Gold Rush, we've got a gem to collect first. The box gem. Yes, and I remember which one it was. It was the one. It was the I missed the box on the golf cart. The mine cart, the trolley cart thing. I forgot what buttons to press. Well, I didn't know what buttons to press to make it go. Make it go faster, and make Crash flick himself up to get the higher boxes. Because they don't tell you. You just got to guess. Like the new TMT game, I think it went a bit overboard with power-ups, but the game is pretty fun. I really enjoyed playing Shredder's Revenge. Whether it was, I haven't really played it. I haven't played it with friends, so per se. I mean, I did a couple of arcade like story runs, solo on stream one time. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm not really normally one for like beat 'em ups, you know, like that kind of arcadey style beat 'em ups. It was a lot of fun, and also the DLC looked really good. The DLC that came out with it was really good too. Like the whole, like, you can go, like, it was like different eras of like TMNT sort of thing. That was pretty cool. Oh, you meant Wrath of the Mutants. Oh, I've not touched that game, so I have no idea how that plays. I have no idea how that plays. It doesn't need photorealistic graphics. As long as it's on similar scale of gameplay-wise, I'll be down for that. Yeah. That'd be, yeah, like, you have, like, side missions and, like, you know, like, little help, like, cries for help from civilians. That'd be quite, you know, that'd be quite cool. Like, every time someone needs help, it's just did. Like, that would be so cool. Somebody needs our help. Go, Power Rangers! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I've not played Wrath of the Mutants actually for the TMNT. Wasn't that more like top down look? I can't remember the trailer for it, if I'm being honest. I know Sav will be having words with me, not remembering or playing the game. Plays like the arcade. Ah, okay. I mean, at least it's getting some games, I suppose. Oh, for fuck! I forget you can't double jump when you jump off monkey bars. Based off the 3D animated TBH show. A while back. Ah, okay. I see. Yeah, I can't remember how it works. I think it's like you do this. Yeah, see, like you do a slower descent to a degree, which is quite cool. The one where April. I haven't watched that show. I haven't watched any TMNT, to be honest. I wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo. That's cool though, so she gets, it's like, you know, powers. It's like psychic powers. Okay, so we have the chance now to get the box gem. I would love to play a Power Rangers game where you play as the Rangers unmorphed as well. That would be pretty cool, actually, yeah. Like, you can just, like, change on a whim. That'd be kind of neat. I get that death route because I died. Shocker. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is the last bit now. I remember this being stuck on this track for a little bit. I don't think I've missed the box. Wow. He says. Coming in that way though? Oh, right, okay. Well, I always thought like unmorphed meant like they were just like in their like, you know, civilian out attire or something, or... Unless you mean like unmorphed from each other, maybe? I don't know. Oh, there's an break starting in a couple minutes. Okay, let's try and get this level done. This level done before then. God. Yeah, I did it. Let's go. Nice. We got the gem. I like to see a Power Ranger RPG where you could create your own Red Rangers, where you could just hang out with your team when there's no fighting that's going on. Ah, okay. Okay. That's pretty cool. I will not lie. That's pretty cool. Right, okay. Minute 40. Oh, Medieval Madness, that's gonna suck. I didn't get the gem for that either, did I, last time? Shit. Same with the Vortex one. Okay, I think I was one short, wasn't I? Have you seen anything from Persona? It's basically something like that. Oh, okay, like, I've seen bits of Persona 3 where you're, like, hanging out in, like, a dorm, and, like, you chat, and then you do, like, your outgoing stuff, and then, you know, your battles and whatnot. If that's what you mean. But yeah, there are ads about to start, so I think I'm going to just take the time to get a drink, because I'm very warm. Very muggy and, like, humid here, so... And like I said, my room tends to be the hottest room in the house, so... I'm going to get a drink, refill, restock, re-energize, and I will be right back. I literally can't do anything. Oh my god. Please, I'll stand still. Oh god. Oh god. I'm clipping that. Don't like them at all. If it's 16, it's probably going to be 4 teams of 4, so it could be like a team game. I swear, if it's like tail tag or something, I'm gonna cry. Honestly. Yeah, when I first heard about the Immortals deck on Uno, and that looked so cool. I was like, and when I played it, it was like amazing. And apparently, it's the only deck that Chugs knows how to use properly.
I'm lost enough as it is.
That's pretty much me in the Kingdom Hearts story.
Well, let's see. Some feller named Ansem, who wasn't really Ansem, became a Heartless. Does that mean a nobody got created when that happened too?
Yup. And that nobody is the leader of the organization.
What?
I know I've met this fake Ansem before, and I've seen the leader of Organization 13 too.
Game to be done now. You know what I mean?
Left twice, scene 23, take one.
Oh, we're in a P500. It's like
Hard left.
oh. I mean, come on. It did say hard left, so I. It's all about this AI that gains sentience and kills all humans except for 4 of them, and keeps torturing, killing, and reviving them for all eternity in all sorts of ways. Whoa, okay, that's a bit fucked up. That's a little bit fucked up. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Also L plus ratio plus didn't ask plus cringe equals plus FF2 is the best FF.
Activating combat out of the way.
And yeah, I've done it a couple of times where I've just been like, yeah, I'm doing great, and then like missed like the last thing, and just like
Aim at pillar and fire.
I feel like I want to cry inside.
Narrow gap. Up pillar and out. Jump down.
Oh no, I barrel rolled. Fuck. Nailed it. That was part of the plan. That was part of the plan. That was part of the plan. Don't know what you're on about. That was part of the plan.
Overtake truck.
Here we go.
Okay, I'm back. Hello. Exactly, since the original Power Rangers series, the Rangers were in high school. Gotcha. Gotcha. Alright. Okay, another hour or so of shenanigans, and then off we go. Right. So we got 4 levels to do in an hour. Okay. Okay. And a lot of them include, well, some of them include gems as well. I think all of them almost, actually. Well, I know the last level does, because I missed a couple there. And the middle one, and the next one after this does, because I missed a few boxes. I think there's a couple of routes I missed, like pathways I missed, so that's where I went wrong. Thank you for the welcome backs. Thank you, thank you. Right, here we go. Off we go. Beady bee boo. Oh shit, I didn't even see that donkey there. Donkey! Ah, fucked it again. Shit. I dread trying to do platinum relics for this. Oh, nice. Pump, 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 pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stomping. And the gym is pumping. Go. I don't remember what the time was. I think it's like 2 minutes-ish. Yeah. Let's down some stuff. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. Let's go. First try. Well, second try. Third try. Third try. Damn Crash must have aged 50 years between games if he's moving down slow monkey bars. Right? It's crazy how slow he moves. Compared to Crash 3 and Crash 2. So much more mobile. Absolutely mental. Okay, so we'll do Medieval Madness now. I might just do the time trial first for this one. Because you're in the atmosphere. Might just do the time trial first. Yeah. How much is the time travel? Yeah. How much is said time travel? Oh, I forgot this music. Oh yeah, didn't I like attempt it? And I remember attempting this yesterday, and I failed like catastrophically. Speed. I am speed. One winner, 4 losers. Oh no! Oh. I forget how much momentum. Sometimes I should just go. Like I should just forget about some other time boxes, but I just see them and I have to go for them. Yeah. Sorry if I'm really quiet, I just would like to concentrate a little bit. Can help it. I mean, that's just bullshit. I got fucking sent to the Shadow Realm because I... Ah, that's stupid. That fucking sucked. Doing so well too. As I went too fast towards the wall, it just shot me out into the water. fucking bitch. It's good pattern, good pattern. Good cycle. Just in case I decide to fall to my death, you know. Oh. No, I gotta go all the way around. Fuck. All I have in my head now is the guy from Spyro 2 going, problem with the trolley, eh? It's like, this is me right now with the atmosphere. Problem with the atmosphere, eh? Oh, good timing, good timing, good timing. Oh. Damn it, I missed the cycle. A little bit. Sort of. Alright, I'm gonna go. All the way around. And then down. I need to concentrate now. Don't fly out of the fucking thing. Anything? No, there's no boxes actually. Oh my god. Yeah, that's fine. I'll do. Jesus. That hurt my eyes. Carpal tunnel. It's like you're playing Marble Madness. It is. It is madness because it's driving me mad. Actually, I think I might come back to that one last because I need to get my. I need just just seeing Crash constantly rolling hurts my eyes. I don't know why. It just hurts my head, my eyes. Maybe because I was hyper fixated on it. I don't know. But we'll do, yeah, Crate Balls of Fire. This is just the relic run. Okay. Okay. And then Cortex Vortex is gem and relic. The dark lighting doesn't help either. Or in-game? No, that's true. What do you mean? Yeah. Game. Fine. This is fine. This is fine. Oh, I forgot that. Okay. Oh, cheeky little fuckers. Because I couldn't see where the ground was for most of that level. Don't break those blocks. It's music though. Bum, bum, bum. You have that problem, or is it a bit easy? Is it more easy for you to see? Shiny. To be honest, I don't think it makes much difference. For me, I think it might. I'm trying to look at OBS and look at my screen. I think it might be a little bit brighter on my TV, so it might help in that regard. Maybe. That was close. Don't know why I descended so goddamn quickly, but there you go. Oh, off we go. Off we pop. Bam. Bam. Nice. Kaku. This droid thing is just so cumbersome. It's stupid. Oh, you can jump on them. That is fucking... Oh. The game wouldn't let me go any further. That's a... Huh? I can't monkey bar anymore. What the fuck is going on here? I'm gonna have to quit. I'm gonna have to quit. That's fucked if that's the case. It was fine though earlier, but I don't know. That's weird. That's so weird. Probably the platinum version, they probably fixed that. That is very weird. Okay, so let's just do Cortex. We'll do the gem and then we'll do the gem and then relic. And then we'll go back to medieval madness. I think. That's the plan. Okay. Good start. Nice. Okay, so we gotta keep an eye out for boxes that we may or may not have. I forget I have the cannon with the bazooka. That will make my life a lot easier. So, Boshi, I think we're still okay if you want to do Friday and Saturday. The DLC actually releases tomorrow morning. Oh, so I'll be able to get a decent amount of time in before I leave for my trip next week. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. I'm still okay for Friday and Saturday. Still good for Friday and Saturday, so. But let me know. If you want more time playing the DLC, that's totally fine. I totally get it. I have a couple of days next week to spend on it too, so I'll be fine. Okay. Yeah, because you said it was Thursday, wasn't it? Next Thursday is your trip. Alright, I got plenty of time then. Oosh, ooh, super body slam. Pretty cool, actually. Don't really know why I'm shooting Nitro, because they're going to get blown up anyway. Ooh. Oh, is that the box I missed? Oh, that's a problem. That is a problem. Okay, we got it. You fucking bastard. Right, here we go. Wait, is there a bonus level that I missed? Oh no, I didn't. I just got it. No, I got it. Sneaky, sneaky. Sneakity sneak. Sneaksy little boxies. Exactly. Exactly. Right, I'll do the... Okay, the gem wasn't too bad. Okay, we'll do the relic. And then... We'll do the relic for that. And then we'll do the gem for Medieval Madness. And then... Then the relic. We'll try and do the relic for... we'll try the relic again for... Crashes to Ashes, or whatever the fuck it's called. Crash Voids. Asteroids. I don't fucking... That shitty level. And hopefully that'll be our stream done then for tonight. And then tomorrow we'll continue on where we left off. Hopefully it's just the secret levels to do. But we'll see. And that depends on how we do for time. This game never ends. It doesn't, does it? This game does not end. Just when you think it might, it just doesn't. Well, that's a shame. Oh, fuck off. I'm just trying to figure out a plan of action Shit. Okay, I gotta wait, I gotta wait, I gotta wait, I gotta wait, gotta wait, gotta wait, gotta wait. Gotta wait again. Fuck off. Oh, you bastard. I should have... Why did I go for the enemy? I shouldn't just go for the enemy. No reason to. How the fuck did you get it? Maybe if I just tornado spin, maybe? Like that. That works. Okay, well, that's better. I mean, really. I should just waited. I should just waited. But I didn't, because... See, sometimes I descend slowly, but then sometimes I just descend like I don't have a death tornado spin going. It's very weird. Like, I guess if I'm falling, like if I'm on the way down of a jump, then like that's why I fall down quicker. Maybe? I don't know. Like, nice. The fucking hitbox for those lasers is just stupid. Dude, I can't wait for the lore videos to come out for the lore videos for Shadow Your Treat. Yeah, that's gonna be insane. You're gonna be binge watching those for that's for sure. Oh, that's a first. Worked. Oh, so if I slide that time, it works? I mean, as long as I can get to the end. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Nice. Sapphire. So just got 2 levels left to go. And one of them is just taking my time and grabbing all the boxes, so... Okay. I was like, huh? I was 2 seconds off goal. Oh. Nice. Damn. Okay, right. Let's take this one slow this time. And, like, really explore every... Like, I'm going to explore the other paths that I didn't take before. I think. Just so I know that I'm not missing out on anything. Oh, nearly died straight away. That would have been funny. Would have been hilarious. Hilarious. Tell you. Bum 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 bum. At least I have 99 lives, I suppose. That does help. I'd like to listen to them when I'm eating and stuff. It's simultaneously relaxing and stimulating. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Gets you pumped up. You're like, oh wow, that's you're like learning a story, like the behind the scenes of the story. Why the the characters are the way they are. Mentally stimulated. Gotcha. I got this one. Ah, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. I bet you can respect the characters more once you learn their lore. Learn what they've been through, sort of thing. Like all their hardships and stuff. Dun, 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 dun. Let me check what's down here. I'll see if you can find the one from Melania. Oh yeah, that'd be nice. Actually, yeah. I am Melania. Blade of Menquia. Is it Menquelia? Oh. Really? Fuckers put a load of boxes here. Why would they do that? I mean, I was gonna say why they do that. It's a fucking crash game. I kind of expected that one. Oh, look at that. Fucking meow. Definitely, I feel the same way about the lore for Cyberpunk. When you're engrossed in a story or a world, like you just want to know everything, and then you have such a much more deeper appreciation of said characters. I could have just gone this way and like. I hope I did it this time. Did, let's go. That actually went a lot quicker than I thought it was gonna be. Let's go. Cyberpunk lore is trippy, especially since the stuff for 2077 is written so differently than the board game. Board game? I didn't realize it was a board game. Assuming like a comic. Yeah, Cyberpunk was a board game before the video games. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I did not know that. That's interesting. Like D&D style? Ah, okay. That makes sense. Alright, so we've got one level left to go. Create balls of fire, which is exactly how I feel about this level, to be honest. Pen and paper tabletop RPG. Nice. Yeah, set in the same universe as the D&D. It's set in the same universe as the D&D version. Nice. That's cool. So they are linked. One more level, folks, and then we will call it a night. One more level. Yeah, I think it's 27 years later. I think the board game was 2050. Ah, okay. Let's see if I can. Oh, it's 2020, is it? Oh, not 2050. Oh, look, I can swing on monkey bars now. Everything's okay. We're okay. Everything's back. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. It's 57 years later. 57 long years. It's music though. Not helping in the time trial because it's like very intense music. I just remember that some of this Johnny Silverhand backstory is supposed to be the tie into the old board game. Ah. She. Speaking of, there is one that's set in between called Cyberpunk Red, which is 2045. Did you ever see the real life Johnny Silverhand prosthetic arm they made for someone? No, I did not see that actually. I bet that was really cool. That was really cool. Oh. Fucking hate it here. I died from this last time. 2.5 minutes I gotta beat. Yeah, this music is very intense. If I didn't take a hit then earlier, I would have had an Aku Aku, and I would have had invincibility, and it would have been fine. All of 3 seconds, but no. Oh, I missed a 3. It doesn't move quite as smoothly as ones in game, but it's still super cool. Oh, I bet. I bet it's super cool. Going too much into the lore would spoil things for you. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I totally get that. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, Ben. Well, mainly because it's near the end. We're near the end. We're in like the latter stages of the game now. Oh, good. See, how do I not take damage there? Asking for a friend. Like, genuinely, do I just hold X longer, or do I just jump from further back? It doesn't make any sense. No, anyway, it's not gonna help my cause, being invincible for like 0.3 of a second. I don't know why I'm bothering, like, I don't know why I'm wasting my energy about it. I die from fall damage anyway, so it's not like I need fucking masks for that. Okay, nice. No sideways action from here on out. Oh, oh. Let's go. Oh, gold. Let's go, baby. And that will be that. So now, if we go to the secret warp room, all the levels should be available. Oh, do I show off the sapphire? I don't need. Literally, all I need is the sapphire relic. I googled it. You don't need gold. You don't need a gold like you do in Crash 3. You don't need a gold rated one to get the extra percentage. You just need to get a relic of any kind. %. Wow. So now, if we go on here, shall I show off the ghost town level that I've been smirking about? Yeah, see, all the levels. So nighttime, I believe, is a medieval level, but at night. So we have like the wisp thing. Ghost town, which I will show. Ice Station Bandicoot is basically Rings of Power from Crash 3. Solar Bola is Medieval Madness but in space. And then Forces of Nature, which is Avalanche, but just the whole ski level bit is a level. I think that might be alright, Forces of Nature. Might be a bit tricky with some of the boxes to get maybe, but that's going to be a bit bitch. Ice Station Bandicoot, that should be fine. That should be okay. Ghost Town should be fine. I think Nighttime and Solar Bowl are my biggest fears. Yeah, because the collectibles in this is gems, so you get 1 gem for getting to the end, which replaces the crystal, and then you get another one for the box gem. So, and then obviously you get a relic, and then a relic. So we've got another 10 gems to go. We should have another 10 gems and 5 relics. Yep. So we're not missing any at the moment. I've got 6 platinum relics though. That's not too bad. Ghost Town is where Ghostly's from. That is very true. Ghostly motherfucking dagger. Shout out to Ghost. Ledge. You can catch him doing GTA roleplay lately. Right, I'll let the ads roll, and then I'm just going to show this off, and then we'll call it a night, and we'll just laugh at how stupid the level design is. But yeah, don't go anywhere, folks. Got a little bit left to go. Oh, Joe's playing some Clone Hero. Nice. Piggy boy. Should be another 30 seconds or so, and then you sent me the video, Ben? Nice. I will have a gander. The lore of Elden Ring is rotten. Lore of Melania and Radahn. I'll read that. I'll read that in due course. Read it, watch it even. It's a YouTube video for God's sake. Anyways. You won't believe how stupid this level is. Welcome back from the answer, everybody. So, are we ready? You're about to see the easiest gem collection of any Crash game. Because, right, I have the controller in my hand, okay? Yeah. We're going to go on this level. I'm going to put the controller down. So I'm not touching the controller at all. Touching it? Still not touching it. I've put it over to the right of me. Not gonna touch it. So we're just gonna sit and watch. Because this is a race. Okay? We're racing Crunch. Okay? So we gotta get first place. Okay? I forgot the vibration makes the desk sound horrible. I'm just gonna hold it in my hand. I'm not gonna touch any buttons. Do you see? There's not touching any buttons, not touching any buttons. Okay, so still first. Still first. About 2. Maybe he might catch up now. I'm gonna be so pissed off if this doesn't work. Still first. Still first. Final lap. Surely. Oh, here he comes. Here comes Crunch. Here comes Crunch. Surely now. Right? Right? Surely. Surely. Yeah. I mean, technically, he was ahead of me, and then Crash just zoomed in front. But, yeah. There you go. We just got a gem for nothing, for doing nothing. And that is the easiest level in the entire game. Just don't have... You can just put the controller down and have a cup of tea, and you win every time. What great level design, right? And there's your freebie on me. Now deal with all the boxes. Exactly. Well, luckily, I don't think we have to finish first to get the. We might have to. We might have to finish first to get the gem. and all the boxes. Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe you don't have to. Because you've got all the boxes. Because you've got the main objective. But yeah. There we go. That's going to be it for tonight. That's going to be it for me. And now we see who we raid. Should we... Actually, I'm just gonna chill out and end stream. I think. Yeah, we'll just end stream for tonight. But thank you very much, everyone, for coming in. As always, good chats, good laughs, all that good stuff. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back. Fingers crossed tomorrow with more Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. We'll be we'll be doing the secret levels. Or the secret warp room, should we say, and getting the gems and the relics. Maybe for final boss again, maybe, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Until then, stay safe, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Good night.